Hello, so we are back. We want now to see how we can move from an activity that we know to another activity that we don't necessarily know where it is. So we are going to use the implicit intent and we are going to move from maybe this to a URL. So what we are going to do, we are going to pick the URL via this text box here. Then when we click a button, it should take us to that URL. So you can see now the difference between an implicit and an explicit activity. For this next, we are 100% sure we need to move to second activity. But for now, the one we want to create, we are not sure which activity we are moving to. So that's the difference between the implicit and the explicit. So now we are going to create another button. So we can just come in to our layouts, then we can pick a space, some space, then we come and place the space just at the bottom there. So we can just come and place our space at the bottom there. Then once it's there, then we can just pull it kidogo down so that it spaces out what's on the top. So you pull it kidogo down. So you can wait for it to load as it pulls the space down. So we have that. So you can just push it to somewhere like that. Then now for this space, we can now just give it an ID so that we know what it is. Then we can say SP3. So our space has an ID of 3. Then now we are going to do a button. So we want that when that button is clicked, if you type a URL here, it takes you to that specific URL. So we'll go to our buttons, then come and pick a button. We'll drag and drop it just here. So we have our button there. So for this button, we are going to say, we are going to give it an ID. For the button, we are going to give it an ID. So we can say BTN. We can call it share. So let's click on the button. Yes. And we can give it BTN share. So we have that. And then for the ID, for the text, we can call it, we can just move button and say go to URL. So we can say go to URL. So the button will have a go to URL. So we have that. Can I just reset this? So now once we have our button ready and we have indicated the button ID, we can now easily come now to our main activity .kotlin, and then now using this button here, we say what we want to do. So it's going to be simple. So we are going to say BTN. We're going to call that. So we'll call BTN share dot set on click listener. So once we set the on click listener, the first thing we are going to do, just as on top, we are going to pick our message. So we are going to pick it as a simple URL. So we can say val, then we can say URL equals to, then we can say, we are going to pick it as a string. So we'll say val URL as string equals to, we are going to pick it in the edit text message dot get text. So we'll just say dot text, then we'll say dot to string. So that's how we're going to pick the URL that you will type there. And then now the next thing is now to use that URL to move to the next page, or to use that URL as an intent to help you move to the next page. So that will be also come in here and say now val, we can call our intent, val intent, then we can say equals to intent. So we want to view, so we are going to say intent dot action view. So you say intent dot action view, then comma, then we'll say URI dot pass. So URI dot pass, that is what is going to pass. Then we are going to pass this URL that we have picked here from the edit text. So you can say URL. So you just do URL. So it's that, just quite simple like that. Then now we can now start the activity. So we'll say start activity, then we'll say intent. So it will simply pick this URL that you have typed here, then pass the activity. So always ensure when you come to your activity main and you're typing your URL, make sure you start with HTTP because for this pass URL it has to have that. So you either write HTTP or HTTPS. Otherwise your app will crash and you will keep wondering why it's not working. So for it to work properly, when you come now and run the app, as you type your URL, then you click go to URL, you have to type HTTP, then you will go directly to the URL. So with that, that's the easiest way of moving from one activity to another, whether you know the activity you're moving to or not. So if you have any question on intents, whether it's an implicit intent or an explicit intent, feel free to ask, and we are going to continue using them more in our coming works. So goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.